So who's got questions about anything that's happened so far along the way? What's going to happen next? Specifically about deals or not about deals? Who got questions?
As far as bird dogging commercial properties, as far as finding other avenues to be able to find, those are the things that, especially finding different ones. And what's the best way to go about if you do see a sign and the building's vacant or not there, of being able to research to find out if it is.
Cool. So, Anthony, what I thought I heard you say was, Sherman, I need to make some money. I need to make some money now. Can I do the quick cash thing like we do in the 21-day course with this commercial thing, and how I put some money in my pocket like within the next 2-3 months? Did I get that kind of right?
You got it.
Okay, good. And it is true, you can in fact bird dog as well as wholesale commercial properties, but it does not work like residential. And Steve and I, again, sort of interesting, we were up in Baltimore at that event that was sponsored by MAR. The president of MAR, how many realtors do we have in the room? How many real estate agents do we have in the room? How many people with licenses? How many people want to get the license? Okay, good. So just a real quick aside, the Maryland Association of Realtors, which is the governing body for the state of Maryland, is run by a guy named Chuck Caskey. Chuck Caskey is now the president of the Maryland Association of Realtors. He's been president for at least the past 3-4 years. I consider him to be a good friend. We've talked from time to time. He at least knows who I am when I call, which is kind of cool because I think there's like 30,000 real estate agents in Maryland now. It's ridiculous, right? So the fact that out of 30,000, he actually does, know who I am when I send him an email or when I call him. So before Chuck took over as president, he was in charge of legislative affairs for MAR and also responsible for complaints. And part of the reason why Chuck knows me is because I've complained about some other brokerage firms, and a couple of brokerage firms have from time to time complained about me, or more specifically, Realinvestors. And what's interesting is some of the real estate brokerage firms have complained about Realinvestors because they don't understand who and what we are and what we do. So he's always happy to take my phone call, and every once in a while I have to call Chuck and go, hey Chuck, I got another one for you. He's like, what's that? Another real estate agent who has said, I'm not going to present your lowball offer to my client. And normally I can handle those. And he said, well, Sherman, what's this got to do with commercial? I'm going to get there. Normally I can handle those, but it's when the agent and the broker both say, we're not going to present your quote unquote lowball offer, meaning what we teach in the 21-day course, right? You get your ARV, right? Now some of you guys are frowning at me when I say 21-day course. Everybody in here's got the 21-day course, right? Good, because the stuff I teach in the 21-day course builds your foundation for commercial. I hope you guys understand that. Anybody who knows my background knows I did not grow up in real estate in the residential real estate world. I grew up in real estate in the commercial world. And as Martin Luther King might say, forgive me for using that name, I've been to the mountaintop. Okay, I cut my teeth in this business working for the #1 real estate developer in Washington, D.C. in the 80s, Oliver T. Carr Jr. Oliver T. Carr Jr. was the gold standard. There was only 50 of us in the development shop, 50 people who understand how real estate development really gets done in Washington, D.C. Oliver Carr was one of my mentors. I've had 3 significant mentors in my life: Jim Rouse, Oliver Carr, Mark Freed, outside of my own family. And so it was while I was at the Oliver T. Carr Company that I really learned how the real estate business really works. I cut my teeth in the world of real estate in the commercial world. I brought some of the stuff in the commercial world into the residential world. As an example, in the 21-day course, I teach you to form what to buy a piece of property. Do you guys know that before I started teaching that 15 years ago, nobody taught that in Maryland? No, we don't know that, Sherman. It's okay. Y'all will love me when I'm dead and gone. In the meantime, be like, whatever. Like, I got a 16-year-old, I get it. I got a 4-year-old dog, I get it. I get it. Okay, anybody got children know what I'm talking about. So most of the stuff that I teach in the 21-day course did not come from the fact that I spent umpteen years with Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Century 21. I didn't spend any time with those guys. I spent time with guys like Xerox Realty, Oliver T. Carr, Mark Freed, FCI Companies, which was the biggest a neighborhood shopping center developer in Northern Virginia up until the time that he sold out his portfolio to the Carl Freeman Company. So I cut my teeth in commercial real estate. So a lot of the stuff that I teach in the 21-day course comes from my, at that point in time, 20 years experience in commercial real estate. You guys with me? So here's the deal. Steve and I are at the MAR event, the Maryland Association of Realtors event. Chuck Caskey, who's the president of MAR, talks about the different, he led a 3-hour session on some of the do's and don'ts and things that are getting a lot of people in trouble. And at a certain point, Steve, you may remember this when he started laughing. He said, basically, anytime we get a phone call from a real estate agent or a real estate broker that starts off with, hey, I was on the website, the MAR website, and I cannot find the standard commercial contract, okay? He says they start laughing, and they stopped laughing a few years ago, and now what they do is they actually tag anybody who makes that phone call, because anybody who's spent 6 months or less, really, in the world of commercial real estate knows there's no such thing as a standard contract. The world of commercial does not work like the world of residential. It doesn't. So as an example, somebody asked the question the other day, hey, can I just go ahead and put out a bunch of standard contracts with some lowball offers to buy commercial to wholesale it? I'm like, no. Doesn't work that way. Somebody posted on the website or the Facebook group, hey, Sherman, is it okay to use the MRIS to find commercial properties? And my answer was, it's okay to use it, but it's thoroughly incomplete. And it's almost the complete opposite. In the world of commercial, 80%, actually it's more than 80% now. In our region, it's more like 84%, right? But generally across the country, 80% of all single-family house deals will be in the MRIS. But in the world of commercial, you'd be lucky if it was like 3 or 4%. Most commercial deals are not going to be found in MRIS. It's not going to be found on LoopNet. I think I made this comment when I saw you guys last month. If you actually Google, or not Google, excuse me, if you actually do a search on LoopNet and ask for sale commercial properties or for sale commercial properties of a certain size or a certain dollar volume in Prince George's County, you'd be lucky to get 10 properties to show up. And yet we know in a county with 800,000 people, there's more than 10 commercial properties that are on the market right now. But there is no standard MRIS or MLS. So it gets to your question. If you want to wholesale commercial properties, is that possible? Yes. However, I'll say this, and it's almost the complete opposite of what you guys have heard me say in the world of residential. You can wholesale commercial properties, but you're probably better off bird dogging. You can make just as much money bird dogging a commercial deal as you can wholesaling a commercial deal with a whole lot less risk. In the world of residential, if I want to wholesale a property, let's say I want to wholesale a property using the 21-day system, how much money do I have to put at risk? Generally speaking, about $1,000. If I totally screw this thing up, like get the 21-day course, leave it in the trunk of the car, claim that I know what I'm doing because I have the 21-day course, not that I actually listen to it, but I actually have it, is it quite possible that I could get like halfway down the road and totally screw it up? Okay, so what's your downside? $1,000. Now, let's leap over into the world of commercial. Let's say that I happen to actually tie up a piece of commercial real estate. First of all, what's your earnest money deposit going to look like on a commercial deal? What's the standard? Thank you, Jesse. That was the right answer. There is no standard, but it probably will be well north of $10,000. Now, you screw this thing up, right? You're out 10 G's. Anybody here okay with being out 10 G's? Because if you are, just let me have it right now. So first of all, the stakes are a lot higher when you attempt to wholesale. Second, there is no such thing as a standard contract. Every contract is going to have its own language. Now, we give you a sample, but notice the sample that we give you as a part of the commercial property blueprint, doesn't it have some words written across it? Yeah, for what? Educational purposes only. For demonstration purposes only. For study purposes, class discussion only. Why do we say that? Because Sherman is not going to take the fall for playing lawyer, right? So in other words, you got to read it. So we put that, what is called a watermark, we put that watermark across it intentionally. You can't just use it without doing what? Yeah, retyping it. And we hope that when you retype it, you actually read it. And then we hope that once you retype it and read it and have questions, that when you go to your lawyer and say, hey, somebody gave me a sample document in class, please explain what this means, that you actually get an understanding of what that clause in the contract actually means. You know, certain words, like how many of you guys came to the pitch tank last month? Like certain words like non-refundable. You'd be amazed at how many people have so many different definitions of the word non-refundable, right? Well, what happened was, no.